Hello and welcome to Dharma Talk Tuesday this week. So happy to be here with you today. There's a little bit of background noise of my very attention deprived puppy barking. So I'm very sorry about that. I put him in his crate thinking that that would help keep the upstairs environment quiet and focused, and it's totally not working. But anyway, moving right along. So thank you ahead of time for just being, understanding of puppy mom life. I want to talk today about what do you do when your prayers are actually answered? I think people spend so much time learning about manifesting and prayer and how do I pray effectively? How do I manifest effectively? And so they spend so much time on learning how to manifest and learning how to pray, but then don't realize or don't know what gets to happen after their prayers are answered. Or they might not even realize that their prayers have been answered, or they do and they don't actually take action on them. And I don't say that in a judgmental way. I say that in a let's create a shift here kind of way so that you can keep, growing your life. I love that phrase, follow God-sized dreams. So if you want to follow God-sized dreams and create God-sized impact and create a big life for yourself, it's going to take praying effectively, manifesting, and then knowing what to do when your prayers are answered. And I think you'd be surprised how often your prayers are actually getting answered compared with what you may have previous thought, and what to do when they are answered. It might be different from what you thought or what you realized. And this was really inspired by a conversation with a friend of mine who was like, well, my prayers haven't been answered yet, so I don't really believe in prayer. And she's someone who's she has a very close relationship with God and with her spiritual practice. And I was like, what? And she said it very flippantly like that. And I was like, hold on, whoa. This doesn't sound like you. And as your friend, it is my duty and responsibility to step in and ask you, what the hell you just said? What are you trying to say? And that's honestly such a dangerous thing to believe, that your prayers don't get answered. That is such a dangerous thing to believe. And that's what I said to her. So we broke it down and talked about it. And what we realized was that it's not that her prayers weren't getting answered. They actually were. She just actually was not hearing or taking action on the response in what she was receiving for a variety of reasons, which we talked about. And then she was like, you're right. It's not that my prayers are not getting answered. It's these other things. So we're going to talk about that today. And as you are joining, it's so good to see you. Thank you for saying hi. Hi, Chanel. Always good to see you here. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Emily. So good to see you all as you're hopping on. All right, so I'm going to go over 5 points, technically 4, but kind of 5 points on this topic, and I have them in my notes so I don't lose track the way I usually do if I don't have my notes in front of me. So the first is to notice if your prayers are answered. There was someone who was at the retreat this past weekend, Unleash Your Inner Calling, which was such an epic retreat. Wow, so far beyond anything that I could have ever predicted or anything I've ever experienced or created before. It was a really, really incredible experience, not only for our participants, but also for me to facilitate and to create, because with that kind of thing, God just flows through me, and I'm just as surprised and just as in it as the rest of the attendees as a facilitator. I'm very kind of surrendered to what God brings forth. So it was just incredible, and it was incredible to see, even at an experience like that, which isn't really considered a breakthrough experience, people are having breakthroughs, and they literally end the event looking different than they did when they walked in. It's like their faces look different, their energy is different. It's like a total transformational result. And I love being source for that for people. That's what I live for. So that was really awesome. But there was somebody at the event who actually said, at the breakfast we had on Sunday, she said, you have been who I've been praying for. She said, I've been praying for an empowered, empowering female coach. I've been praying for you. You have been, you are the answer to my prayer. This event, you're offering Maya, Money Alignment Yoga Academy, is the answer to my prayer. She must have said it at least 4 times in front of everybody. And so in some cases, the first step being notice when your prayers are answered. That's the first step. Sometimes it's really obvious, like with that particular woman, it was really obvious to her. She was like, this was the answer to my prayer. You are the answer to my prayer. And that's it. So in some cases, it's very obvious. You got to notice that. In some cases, it's not as obvious, and you need to be very kind of like focused up and out and really have your eyes open. Like, you set an intention and then it will happen, but sometimes you miss it when it happens. And if you're a doer, if you're very caught up in the doing of things, if you're someone who's very caught up in getting stuff done, checking the box on the list, if you're very caught up in if you're ambitious and you're caught up in like, I just got to get to the next thing, sometimes what'll happen is you'll set an intention or you'll have a prayer, but then you'll miss it when it happens because you're already on the next thing. Hearts and likes if you are either of those people. You know, sometimes you say that you set the prayer and then it happens and you notice it and you're like, this is the answer to my prayers, like hearts and likes if you've been there. Or if it's like you say the prayer and then it happens, but you're already on to the next thing, so you're not even open to noticing if that prayer got answered. Hearts and likes if you can relate to that, right? So the first step is actually noticing if your prayers are answered. Just noticing and having an intention. You can even just have an intention to notice if your prayers are answered. So that's the first thing. The second thing that can really help you in noticing is reconnecting to your vision with the intention of that prayer. So just to use the example of that woman at the retreat again, she said the prayer she was like looking for an empowering, those are her words, female coach, because she had had a traumatizing experience with a male coach. And so she knew she wanted a female coach, but she hadn't found anyone who was in alignment with what she wanted for her vision, for her specific vision. And she's got a beautiful vision, she's got a big vision, and she also has an opportunity to break generational and ancestral energetic limitations. So that's a whole other Dharma Talk Tuesday topic. But my point is that that's something that's part of her vision of something she wanted to do for her daughter, to set a different example and to energetically create a whole new vibration and pattern. And so her vision in initially setting that prayer was around her business as well as around just her generational and legacy vision. So it's really important to remember like why you said the prayer in the first place, because especially if the prayer takes a while to get answered, you like it's going to be staying really connected to your vision that will help you have the prayer endurance, the manifesting endurance. You know, I did a Dharma Talk Tuesday. When was it? I guess it was probably like a month ago about time travel. Sorry, my nose is itchy. About time travel and how it's so important, even when the deadline has passed, even when it seems like all is lost, that you stay ninja focused on your intention and on the thing that you're manifesting, because there's no such thing as time. And so the moment that you lose the intention, or you give up hope, or you believe something isn't going to work, that's how it's going to be, because it's all about your belief at the end of the day. So, and again, you can go back and watch that Dharma Talk Tuesday about time travel, but basically, like, you're manifesting now for a month ago. And your present self is benefiting from the manifest or losing out because of the manifesting of your future self. So if you lose belief and conviction in your vision presently or in the future, that is affecting your past and present self. So, you gotta get ninja and really locked in and really focused when it comes to your vision and when it comes to like why you say the prayer in the first place. And I don't know if that looks like, changing the background on your phone to help you remember, or like putting it up on your wall somewhere, or if you're like me and you have a bullet journal, putting it like every evening I do my bold prayer in my bullet journal for my daily log. So for a while I had a bold prayer of 50,000 a month, and it took me 3 months, but it finally happened. But imagine if I had given up on the first month. and stopped believing, it wouldn't have happened on month 3, you know? And so it's like your vision may not happen right away, so you have to have prayer and manifesting endurance. You got to have endurance. Okay, so reconnecting with the vision regularly, I recommend daily, will give you that endurance. Point number 3, grab onto evidence to help you believe. Grab onto evidence to help you believe, and that'll give you the endurance as well. So your vision will give you endurance as well as evidence. So for example, what I was telling the ladies over the weekend, as I was teaching them the 3 pillars of manifesting, which is like a hugely foundational aspect of my teachings, especially I was teaching the strategic side of things, which the 3rd pillar is avenues of abundance. So I'll just go over the 3 really quick. The 1st pillar is emotional cultivation, which is essentially the language with which you communicate with the universe. The 2nd pillar is yoga, which is going to shift the vibration in your body, which, let's be honest, we're 3-dimensional beings on the 3-dimensional plane. So if you're out of alignment in your body, that is going to affect your manifesting. And then number 3 is avenues of abundance, and that's the strategy. And so one of the strategies I was teaching at the retreat was how to create and facilitate workshops using other people's audiences. So 0 overhead, 0 promotion, literally showing up, like doing your thing, being in your zone of genius, making a difference for people, and actually getting really high quality leads that way, and creating, that's an avenue of abundance. So you're creating an avenue of abundance for the universe to not only make a difference for you and your bank account, but also for those people who are waiting for you. So sometimes strategies can be challenging. And this is on this side, in terms of strategies, this is a very easy one. You know, there are definitely marketing strategies out there if you're using Facebook ads or if you're doing webinars, or, you know, there's other strategies, you know, even, like old-fashioned style, let's talk corporate, or if you're watching this and you're in just more of a traditional role and you have to like submit resumes and you have to apply, like that stuff takes, it takes endurance. It's like, it's not so easy. And so, one of the ways to have endurance and to keep going is to like really hear testimonials of other people who've used strategies, especially the strategies I was teaching, so like the ladies at the retreat that I was working with could have a boost of faith and could feel like, oh, it worked for her, maybe it could work for me too. So for example, we had a woman at the retreat who was switching from mural paintings and mural art to, basically she had to stop doing mural art because she had like an injury and she needed to switch to something else, but she couldn't figure out what it would be or what she would do. And so I told her about a woman who was in Maya, her name's Naomi, and she's incredible. And she did murals and all kinds of beautiful art. And she did it in a way that worked for her body, for her family. She charged at a level that felt really good for her, using the methods I talked about. She created great revenue from her business. And her energy set point, her vibrational level shifted such that it also affected her husband's manifesting, and he had this like aura effect, which is to say that her energy set point rubbed off on him, and he actually received a promotion, and it was a benefit that came out of her. He actually said it was a benefit that came out of the work that she had done. He attributed it to her shifting, and it energetically caused a shift in him and his results. So that's one example of a way to boost your belief. Or another example, someone at the retreat was wanting to do her own retreats and paid workshops and things like that. And I told her about one of our clients, Therese, who created $30,000 in revenue from one of her recent retreats, which is awesome. And she's doing another one in end of July, beginning of August in France, and is filling it with ease. And that's a $14,000 spot, and she's filling it with ease, and another example is Rush, who happens to be our head coach in Maya, but she's also a sound healer, and she's it's not common, but as a sound healer, she gets to set a goal of $7,500 a month, and she knows exactly how to fulfill it in terms of doing workshops, in terms of how to enroll clients, in terms of even how to sell as a healer a package that's worth $6,000, which is what her price point is right now if you want to work with her, which is awesome, and she sells it successfully. People even pay her in full for it. So these are just a few examples. I mean, I could go on and on with examples, but what the people in the room were hearing were testimonies that help them believe that their vision was legitimate, that their vision could be achieved, and that the methods that that, for example, that I was teaching in the room that I was teaching could help them achieve the vision that they wanted, right? So if you're watching this and you need to figure out some testimonies to grab onto, one of the places you can actually also look is the Bible. You think about the faith that Abraham had when God said, when he was still Abram, and he said, you are going to not only have a son, but your children are going to populate the earth. You are going to have as many children, numbering as many as the stars in the sky. And it's like he's 80 years old when God's delivering this prophecy, and then another 10 years goes by, and then another 10 years goes by, and Abraham's like, hello, what's happening? I mean, can you imagine decades going by before your prayer gets answered? And then, of course, this prayer finally does get answered. Or another example is Noah, and God's like, there's going to be a flood, you got to build a boat. And Noah's like, what's a boat? Like, what's a flood? Like, what? But Noah's like, okay, all right. Like, I have faith that this is... and then also, of course, God gave a promise to him, like a covenant with him about his children numbering the earth. And so what did Noah do? He started building a boat. He was obedient. He, heard the prayer. He said a prayer. He heard the answer, and he took action. Or another example, let's talk about Siddhartha, if you want to go in the Buddhist direction. He said a prayer once he saw the poverty in his town, and he heard God's calling to have him go out and, leave his home, leave his riches, and go sit under a tree until he had his answers. And that's exactly what he did. And now he's one of the most famous high vibe people ever. Or another example, just to go back to like Hinduism, Hanuman, who had a prayer about saving the princess. What did that require from him? Leaping across the channel between India and Sri Lanka. So I'm just giving you examples of places you can go depending on your faith, depending on what you believe in, where you can go and one of the reasons I love reading scripture is because it's in a place where I can go to get faith. One of the reasons I love reading Richard Branson's books is because it's a place I can go to get faith, or watching Russell Brunson's listening to Russell Brunson's podcasts and things like that. So you go wherever you got to go to get your faith boosted. You can also come to me, and you can come here, and I'll tell you about, Amber, who, when she signed up to work with me and she went through Maya, she, for the first quarter that she was working with us, she made just as much as she had made in the entirety of the previous year, which is she made 4 times in 1 quarter as she made in the entire year the previous year. And she, sells multi-million-dollar homes, so that's a significant amount of money. So I'm just sharing this with you because this is a really important part of the prayer making process and the prayer answering process. And if you don't have a system built into your life that provides you with the evidence side of things to help you boost your belief and give you manifesting endurance, then you are going to give up very easily. And your prayers will feel like they're never answered, but they're actually trying to get answered, and you're losing faith and you're losing endurance. And what that says to God is you're not ready to have your prayers received yet. Because here's what happens, and this is the next step. Take bold action when your prayers get received or answered. So when your prayers get answered, you need to be ready to take bold action. And what that can mean sometimes is doing something very uncomfortable. So Abraham gets his son. He's like praying for the next step, and God says, go take your son and go sacrifice him. God didn't tell him where to go or when to do it, or he didn't say that he was going to provide a different sacrifice. He didn't say any of that, but Abraham he was obedient, he took bold action, and of course he didn't end up needing to sacrifice his son. Or another example is, I thought of someone who wanted to come to my retreat who couldn't make it because she had something come up. This actually came up for a lot of people. How many times have you had the vision of going to a retreat or going to an experience or doing something for yourself, but something came up and so you didn't go? Even if the thing that came up was totally legitimate, totally valid, totally like a good reason. Here's the thing. You got to watch out for things coming up that get in the way of your vision. Because whether you want to call it like a self-sabotage, or whether you want to call it the ego, or whether you want to call it the enemy, you got to watch out for the things that come up and get in the way of what you said is your vision, because that's actually what's going to keep you, like you actually manifest everything. And so I promise you, you will manifest scenarios that will keep you at your energy set point. Again, that's another Dharma Talk Tuesday, but basically think about it as like you're manifesting thermostat. If you find that you can't make more money, or like you have an upper limit where you hit a certain ceiling and you can't make more money than that, it's because you are wired to make a certain amount of money, and it takes a breakthrough in your energy set point in order to manifest more money. And in order to manifest more money, you're going to have to get through those moments where it's like something comes up and you go anyway, or you do it anyway. And it's like when you have every reason in the book not to do it, not enough money, not enough time, double booking, conflicts. It's actually those moments where you lean into your vision and do the thing anyway that you create a breakthrough in your energy set point, so you can actually open yourself to receive more. You're breaking the old pattern and you're creating a new pattern. So you're breaking the old pattern and creating a new pattern when you say yes to something that you feel like you can't do because of a reason or an excuse. That even may feel totally legitimate and valid. That may trigger some people and that may upset some people, but I'm willing to say that at the expense of you liking me, because I know that it's true and I've done it myself. Believe me, I've done it myself. And I'm gonna be bold and say all successful individuals have. You were not designed to thrive, you were designed to survive. And so if you want to be someone who thrives, you get to have establish a new relationship with the moments of I can't because, and you get to learn to find the solution in those moments in service to your vision, in service to the original prayer that you set out that gets answered, that you get to honor and move forward on, because that's like your way of showing God that you're ready for the next thing, for the next level of energy set point, for the next level of money manifesting, for the next level of time freedom, for the next level of client that you want to work with. Like you say you want to work with high level clients, then you get to show up as someone who isn't limited by circumstances or limited by time or limited by any kind of resources at all, because you're actually more committed to your vision than you are to the resources or to the limitations of your situation. So that's it. I call those energy set point limiters or enemy attacks. So let's see. Hi, Emily. Looking at the comments now. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Laura. Who else have we got with us? All right. Scrolling. Okay. So obviously hearts and likes if this is resonating with you. If you know anyone who this could make a difference for, share it with them. And what I'll finally leave you with is that if you find it confusing about what if something is like a real limiter versus an energy set point limiter? Like, how do you discern between the two? How do you discern between something that legitimately is in the way of something versus something that's trying to sabotage you? I'm going to say, hi, Kathy. I'm going to say that would be a good question to get on the phone with and receive a coaching call around. And what I'm happy to do is open my calendar, which I never do, because I'm doing it this week, for you, and my team as well are going to be available. So you can go to, and maybe one of you, Catherine or Laura or Kathy or one of you can type in the chat, thedharmacircle.com/custom abundance plan session. Or maybe I can I type it in? Let's see. The dharmacircle.com/custom abundance plan session post. So there you go. And that is a link to book a complimentary call with me or one of my team members. And if you get really lucky, you'll talk to me. Not that my team members aren't amazing. You're going to be very lucky if you talk to them too. All right, Laura says, I broke my first $5,000 month in April. She is one of our clients. I'm on track to continue this. Definitely a change in my set point. Laura, I acknowledge you. That is amazing. Great job. That is so, that's so awesome. Hi, Jolene. All right. So that sums up our Dharma Talk Tuesday. Let's just go over the points again really quick. So what do you do when your prayers are finally answered? Okay, so the first thing is to notice that your prayer was answered. The second thing is to reconnect with your vision or intention and make a decision that's in service to your prayer or intention versus a decision that's out of convenience or out of psychological assessment, which basically means I feel like it or I don't. Step three, grab onto evidence to help you believe so that you can take bold, inspired action. Number 4, final step, watch out for energy set point limiters / ego / enemy attack / self-sabotage, because those will try to keep you stuck, and those do come up and will come up just when you think your prayers are answered. So stay in the vision, stay in the commitment, get support where you can, which obviously these Dharma Talk Tuesdays offer support. The link that I posted where you can grab a complimentary call with my team members or with me will offer you support. Dharma Queen Sunday service on Sunday in the Dharma Queens Facebook group offers support. So those are places where you can see support so that you can continue to shift your energy set point versus stay stuck and then like wonder why you're stuck, right? Laura says, plus Elise and I, Elise is another one of our clients, are working on a workshop for ease for tango dancers. Oh my God, that is so cool. That is so perfect. And I love the two of you collaborating. That's fantastic. All right, so there's Duke saying he wants his mom to be done with Dharma Talk Tuesday. So I'm gonna send you blessings and take him for a walk. And I'll see you next week on Dharma Talk Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. Have an awesome rest of your week. Bye.